What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Jinx Did Nothing Wrong. We are here to have a lovely discussion. We've been rattling and battling all day, and now that I had a little bit more fun with Swain's Raven Army, like I said, I actually did record a Viego, using Viego, playing him on turn 2, and it was still kind of cheek. So even though certain characters, you're able to get them out on early, with the specific 3-thing setup. Now, if we had 4 slots, hey, I ain't advocating, but maybe we need 4 slots, or maybe that would be the next thing, is that like when they increase these levels, maybe, because eventually they're going to do it. I'd say it would take them a year or so. They'll probably go to level 40, level 50, and then you'll get another slot, and then the builds would open up a lot. That's probably their ace in the hole, by the way, because that's going to change everything. Like, when having a 4th slot would change everything for things. But let me stop giving them ideas without giving me my money. By the way, like, comment, subscribe, and I really want you guys to chime in on this conversation. The reason why is because this is a conversation about how we are spending money into the game. We've already touched on the Nova Crystals, and now I want to talk about the relics, right? These relics, paid for relics, have been changing over time, and I actually recorded this video, but I wanted to do it over again because I wanted to really utilize this first and then make a popular opinion about it. So let's go from like the beginning of in the beginning of time, when we fell in love. So boom, first one we had was the Starforged Gauntlets, right? These are gonna confuse me. I'm just gonna take them out. So we have the Starforged Gauntlet, right? Was the first one, came in the ASOL bundle. Now people are like, where? I want to get the Starforged Gauntlets. I want to get it. I can't get it right now. Now what I really wanted to say is that it's kind of interesting, right? This is probably the most utilized paid for relic that we have in the game. If I'm Titanic, can be easily triggered by having, like, boom, I could boom Formidable, and then this. That's 3 defense, boom, she's there. Or I could take this and add in, there's a lot of flexible ways depending on how high their attack is, right? How fast can you get one of the stats to 3, and boom, all of a sudden now you have an extra mana. And it was not tied to a champion. As you can see, it's not tied to ASOL, but ASOL can easily use it. Any character in the game that has the ability to already be Titanic can easily use it. They don't even have to waste any of these slots. So that's kind of really good, right? Like, the relic in itself is working entirely separately by itself. I like that. I think that was like, this is one of the best ones. That's why I think people are still asking, how do I get my hands on this one? It's so good. So that is a really good one. When I spend the $10, $20, I think it is, to get these, I think that was like the best bang for the buck, right? And I just wanted to buy it at the time because it was ASOL. It was a big celebration. The first 5-star. Eventually, ASOL's gonna get a 6-star, and then the whole world's gonna break, right? But that is really, really good. But then we have to start going with the other ones that they started introducing, right? Then I think the next one that they did was Nora's Portal Accelerator. Now this is when they started saying we're gonna start attaching it. The mana thing is gonna be attached to the actual champion, and you're gonna get a little slight upside if you want to use it. Now, when you summon a created ally granted impact, there's a lot of little things that you could utilize that for. There's a lot of units that have created units all the time, like Gwen, like the Husk, stuff like that. So some characters can use it, but I would say that the secondary effect is relatively weak, right? It's not as strong as if I'm not using Nora, will I use that? Probably not. I want to use these other epics that I get. Remember, most people eventually are getting 1 epic relic a month, and eventually you're going to cap out on your thing, and then you're just going to be holding and hoarding thing. So, which is another thing that we need to talk about. When you start to hoard that, if you already have all the relics, then what are you waiting for every month? I'm assuming you're just not waiting for anything, which they're gonna have to address that as well, especially with someone. And I like to use Spicy Toast Gaming as like a benchmark, because he has a lot of things already, right? His account is very well polished. I think he even has a second account. So, like, what does he do once he has all these things, and then it sucks that he has to buy them out of the shop, right? And this is just me talking for the free-to-play and the future of the game. Is it bad? I think it's concerning. It's definitely concerning. But they do sometimes put some outside, but not so much, right? So we had this one, like I said, not too much to write about. But then I think after that, and I could be messing up the order, please forgive me, I think that they had the Fear Cleaving Axe after that, right? Fear Cleaving Axe was with the Goon Squad when they came in. It was one of the ones that you could buy, and it came out, I think, around the same time as these other ones. We'll talk about those in a second. But the Fear Cleaving Axe was in the regular shop. It wasn't attached to a bundle, so is relatively technically cheaper to get. It has a easy upside. At the bare minimum, as I think I've said before, it is a upgrade from the old ones, and you'll see that that's something that they've been doing. It's cheaper to do. I just want you, it's the cheapest way to do it, and if you guys don't If you don't see it that way, you're literally asleep. But it's just an upgraded version of Gwynso's Rage Blade. It has a crazy upside to it, but it gives any unit spirit, and then when you attack, you boost yourself. Boosting will make spirit +1/+1. It's basically Gwynso's Rage Blade, and just makes it a little bit better. But if there's any gloom or impact or spirit on other units, it helps that out. So overall, really, really good. And I could say if you just have an epic slot and you're like, oh, I don't know what to put there, you could just put that in there, especially if your unit attacks a little bit or will attack eventually. Pretty damn good. So I like this one. And then we have the trifecta, which I won't be able to do. We have the Lux Incandescent, we have the Shock Awe, and then we have Valhyr's icon right over here. I should have did this on Vex because I think Vex has all 3 slots open. But now we have this one. The only one that seems to be attached to a unit is the Lux one. But at the same time, we talked about this before, the Game Start, draw a follower that costs 2 or less. And granted Targon's Brace, right? So this thing is an overall good. This is something similar to like the Targon one, the Starforged Gauntlets. It's just an overall good. The other aspect of the starting mana thing is cool, but it's just like the Titanic. If I'm not Titanic, I'm not going to use that. But even though Starforged Gauntlets, if you don't have that, you still have the other side when you can find level 2 champions when you invoke or manifest. Boom! You could still utilize that if you have a, let's say if they make an invoke base champion or manifest champion, or if you keep seeing it in the shop, you can literally look and search for that. So you can kind of make it work to your liking, right? So this is also really good. Shock and Awe, as I've shown in many videos, right? Shock and Awe is really, really good. If the champions have some type of cost reduction, it will trigger when they taught, and it's 1 or less. They could have just made it 1 cost and it would have screwed up everything. So it's 1 or less. So if you make a 0 cost something, so even Nora could use it when she has the summon portals, and then all of a sudden those people are attacking. Also put skills. It's literally, I feel like after a while, it's the best one, right? And then we have the Valhyr one, which is for elemental skills and spells and skills only, right? And it does that, so only certain characters can really utilize that. But as they add more of them into the game, it'll be pretty good. And that's where I'm going to start to lead off of into our next magical point. So now we have these new 2 that we just have. We have the Raven's Army, and we have the Yasuo one, which is really going to be like a weird conversation that we need to have, right? It's all the way down here. So let's talk with the one we just tried out, right? The Game Start I'm looking at the word and just not saying it. Drain 5 from the enemy nexus. So this is great to sustain yourself in a build. So I actually think that similar to the Fear Cleaving Axe, I think that you could pretty much put this on if you just want to unlock a purple slot and you just have it and you just want to use something good. I actually could suggest Swain's Raven's Army, right? It's not that bad, but as far as like paying for the bundle and like even using on Swain, I'm almost thinking like Swain is not even that great on Swain, but the reason why it works with Swain is because of how his passive works. It removes 5 damage from the enemy nexus and then automatically makes all your damage spells do 1 additional damage. So it has a crazy upside on Swain. And then it has, if I'm Swain, refill your spell mana when you play the unit that it has it, which could only be Swain. And I said, again, it's another one where it's like we are revamping another card, which is Lost Chapter. So he just has a Lost Chapter with a crazy uptick on it, right? Only for Swain. So they switched it around. It has nothing to do with starting mana. They're just giving you some other things. So I would actually think that since I feel like, I'm not necessarily calling it lazy, but I do think that they're going to start to redo this one. Like the Grand Duelist Blade is been upgraded, right? There's the one that is blue, the one that is blue and true. Troll King's Crown is an upgraded version of something else. I forgot what it's called. It's like the Challenger's Blade or something like that. Laurent's Blade Rack. Now everyone has Challenger. It's a crazy upside to it, just made differently. So I think that that's what we're going to start seeing from some of these purples, because it seems like that's what they're kind of going with. I would prefer if they just took that out. So what do you? I want to first start off with, what do you guys think about that? Why couldn't it just been Game Start, Drain 5 from the enemy nexus, play, refill your spell mana? That would have made this a huge buy if it was just that. But if I'm Swain, I think that they just need to stop doing that. I think that when I was talking about the other ones, they just seem so cool, right? They just seem so crazy, but it just feels wasteful, right? It feels wasteful. Whenever I'm putting on something like, if I'm putting on Chosen by the Stars, there's every part of it is relevant. The Faded and Augment allows you to get to the Empowered 10, right? So like the Death's Foil, there's a small stat increase, and then when I'm attacking, I can't take damage. There's a double-sided thing. Disciple of Shadows. I cost 1 less for each ally in play, and then I deal 3 to them. There's a crazy upside to both of those things, right? It's cheaper, and then sometimes dealing 3 to all allies could be beneficial to you, and you would probably leverage that, right? So this same thing here. Create 7 copies of me in the deck. That's automatic. If you just need that, you guys see, sometimes I don't draw my champions, and then boom, champion spells cost 1 less, and it doesn't even matter if it's the champion spell or your support characters. As long as it's a champion spell, it's gonna cost 1 less. Crazy upside to it. Same thing I already explained. If you're cleaving axe, full build, it's just a bunch of keywords. If a bunch of keywords are good for you, and yes, I've tried it on Kaiser and I actually didn't like it. I really don't know who this is for, but 3 separate keywords that are very impactful: Challenger, Tough, Overwhelm. You don't have quick attack, you don't have regen, but for the very most part, if the other character has it, then they're pretty good. So most of these things have a really cool upside, uptick. Similar to this one, only one aspect to it. Well, I guess you can say spells and skills. One upside to it, but a very strong one at that. Pack powder, +1/+1 for the thing. So this, I don't like that you get only one thing if you're not using Swain. Now, we have that one build, obviously, the pack powder and the scourge, right? So that's one way to use it outside of using Swain. But it's 3 slots just to use that, and I think that we have to talk about how that just feels like ugly in my opinion. And I can't fathom any other thing outside of, like I said, extra regenning per match that Raven's army thing kind of comes into play, right? It just feels like a wasted slot if not. So then we got to talk about the elephant. The other elephant in the room is going to be then the Yasuo one. Now Yasuo, when you recall an enemy, increase its cost by 2. Now, even in Yasuo's deck, let's just double check that real quick. So even when we're using the guy that it's designed for, let's see, let's count all the recalls he has in his actual deck. And that's right, ladies and gentlemen, he has 2. He just has 2. He doesn't actually have, you can get more Willy Ionias, you can get more recalls. In the match, he only has 2. And then I went and I said, well, who else has recalls? Now, there's no Kennen, right? There's no Ari currently in the game, right? Or they can eventually do that. And it could be like certain things get a crazy upside, and that's what, you know, us content creators are all about. But I think that if I look at, I know Lilia doesn't have it. I know that Master Yi probably doesn't have any recalls in his thing. Would be nice, but he doesn't. I think this recalls, yeah, recall itself. It's not. I'm just looking for something that recalls the enemy. So you pretty much have to go in the run and get stuff. Now, not that I'm really bad about that or sad about that. I do like sometimes that you have to. It's something is more run dependent. I do like that. And the only other character I'll spoil it for you guys. Where is he? Is Set. Set actually does have a recall spell, which is going to be Tag Out, and it actually has a crazy upside to it. It has the mana gem, pretty good, and it gives you a coin. And that's it. There's only one card in there that does that. So you can put it on Set or you can put it on Yasuo, and then anything else is by you magically getting it in a run, which I think lowers the effectiveness of it. But the other part about it is that you're pretty much wasting a purple slot for it. So if you're not Yasuo, you're not getting the starting mana. So if I put this on Set, I'm only looking for one card in my deck to make this work. When you recall an enemy, increases cost by 2. Now I know what some of you guys are gonna basically say, well, oh, you know what it's really for? It's for his passive, and it absolutely is. It's for his big mega dagger passive here, which is recall stunned enemies, and then they'll all cost 2. But why would I spend 20 bucks? Actually, no, it's not even 20 bucks. It's actually relatively cheap right now. But why would I spend money on it to eventually possibly get this? It's like a compounded thing that I just don't understand. And I've said this before, is I'm not super familiar of how some of these are. I'm assuming Nora's Portal is not going to be in the regular rotation of Golden Requilies. I would hope for like any of the ones that have a champion attached to it, because if you wait an entire month, right? You're waiting an entire month to get an Reliquily, gold Reliquily, and then like I got Secret Technique, cool. Boom, I got Spectral Scissors, cool. I got Oath of Guardians, cool. I got Found Fortune, cool. And then it's like, oh, I got Yasuo's Windblade. I don't have Set or Yasuo built up. I don't like those characters. I don't like Ionia. I just basically didn't get, like, I actually really hope that they're not, right? So that would seem terrible. So I think that what I would prefer if maybe they changed this and made it a little bit more impactful for anyone using it, and just take this whole thing about, if this character is this one, +1 starting mana, or if they do have it, then add a third effect that is still two, basically like everything here is like kind of like two for the price of one. That's what the epics are for, but some of them are just like, they're not, it's great. When I'm summoning, create 2 random 7 cost units from your reach and reduces cost by my base cost, and cool. Awesome. 2 cards in the hand that are very expensive and it reduces, like there's a lot of, and it's by your base cost, so if you reduce the cost, it doesn't matter. Great. Like all these cards, like there's no epic that I feel like sorry, that would have been a lie. There's some of the epics that I feel are lackluster, but at least they have a place, right? I feel like this one is just a complete miss. You should not base any of the epic powers based on level 6, right? Will it be awesome when someone pulls it off? Oh, absolutely. There'll be one magical video. And Yasuo's, again, already strong. So, like, I feel like if this is doing anything, it's telling me that maybe Ari will get added. I'm assuming it'll be for a while. Maybe they'll add Kennen. You know, he is about technically recalling or just summoning the same unit. I actually prefer to summon the same unit more so than recalling and then playing the unit over and over again. So, I just feel like it's just bad. Or if they gave it the Ari passive, when you recall an enemy, increase the cost by 2. When you recall an ally, reduce its cost by 2 or something like that. Just give it, let's make it better. But what do you guys think for like monetization wise? Where do you like the epic relics to be? Do you mind the whole thing? It does make a relic specific to that champion, and it's very similar. Again, like I said, it's a very mobile game-esque thing. When you play mobile games, especially when they started adding what they call artifacts or any type of equipable equipment, thank you, I appreciate, scholar, I'm a scholar, they would start to do it that a new character would come out and then the artifact would be specified to that character or just so unique that only that character, or it would be best in slot for that character. So you would not only want to summon and get the character, then you would then want to get its relic or artifact. They change it per game. You would always want to get the thing that's attached to it. So you're basically spending double the money. You're trying to either pity the one thing and then you're also trying to get the artifact, or you're screwed or whatever. And we all know at the end of the day, usually if you just get the character just works fine. You just play Yasuo, he's fine. You just play Swain, he's fine. You don't need any of this. You don't need to spend money. For collections purposes, that's what it is. And that's kind of like what I want to talk with you guys about. I think that they just need to keep dropping more Fear Cleaving Axes. I think that they should just drop more of the Starforged Gauntlets. Stuff that is just super flexible. I would be more enticed to spend money because I feel like I'm getting a cool piece of content and not this weird thing. Like I still have yet used Lux Incandescent Baton because it's just like, it's really great, but like the whole thing is like I feel like I'm missing out when I use it. Like even when I was using the Swain thing, I had to use 2 other relics to make that one feel like it was impactful. So I think that they're getting away from what made the buying a relic in the shop marketable, what made it really enticing, what really made it good. And I feel like they need to get back to just making a really good relic and not tying it to a person, because tying it to a person just makes it more unattractive in my opinion. You want to make it as sexy, as mexy as possible. Also, and you guys don't have to tell me this specific, and here it is, the win thing. It's literally $9.80, which I'm pretty sure is like $10. It's like $10 if you wanted to buy this raw, or if you have some leftover thing. That's what I usually got. I usually have leftover and then I just buy this here. And you guys can see, I normally just buy the fragments in the shop. You know what? Let me get this. If I want to go double Zoot and Echo, I can. Why not? I have an abundance of this now because of all the rewards that they've been giving out. I could even start getting these, but I won't. And I'm also weird that this button doesn't go to the full shop. It's really weird. I can click this, right? Yeah, see, 10,000. 1,000 is $10. So if you wanted Yasuo's thing, is $10. It's not that expensive. So maybe if it's a crappier one that we can all agree that it's crappy, maybe we could just say, oh, you know, it's just $10. It's not that bad. I just still think the Fear Cleaving Axe was in the same position, and the Fear Cleaving Axe is dramatically better. But you can also say, hey, at least I didn't have to buy it in a bundle. Last but not least, if you guys don't mind, what are you willing to spend money for? This is, I know the other guys would be really like, oh yeah, let me tell them, what are you guys willing to spend money for? Because they even have something like this, a bunch of fragments. You get spectral scissors here for $39.80, right? Is this worth money to you? Is this a proper use of money, right? Because I started to look in the shop, and I didn't actually realize that this is $20 bundle right here. Is that you actually can get gold rec release, and I'm thinking like, I wouldn't mind gold rec release. I like that. I like those. I like those a lot. Because then I can be getting my epic ones. But as you can see, some of the epics are not really that much worth it. And same thing with this one, 20 bucks again. So for $60, you can get 3 additional gold records plus some fragments for the thing. I find that that's a little bit more worth it. But then again, worth it is so subjective, because then I have this, right? If I were to get this, I can actually do that Vex video I badly want to do, right? I buy this bundle, but this is $100. Right? So $100 for one video to me seems gross, and I can only imagine how many other people are doing this. Boom, as you can see, that price point, $780 or whatever, is not even with this one. They don't have a $75 bundle. You have to spend $100. So $100 just to get this, I feel like it's just weird, right? But then when I spend 10 or 20 bucks to get the other one, I forgot how much. Does it tell me how much the Swain one costs? This is the one that I bought, right? This one was, it doesn't even tell me. I have to go to history. The Swain one, not this one. The one that I purchased already was $11.90. So couldn't get it with the $10. You would have had to spend 20 bucks it had left over afterwards if you wanted to do that. So what do you guys spend money? For those that do spend money, what do you spend money on? And for those that don't, why do you not spend money on anything at all? What is I do believe that, especially for a free-to-play game, that a lot of the stuff that they have locked, not even locked up, I don't want to say it's locked behind paywall, but it's more enticing, right? It's super enticing, and that is what they want you to do. They do want people to spend money. They want you to invest, but I do feel like it always feels weird where there's no upper ceiling to how much money you're spending. When you buy a DLC, for example, the Elden Ring DLC just came out. I bought that. I will fully enjoy it. I can, if I was making content on it, I would be able to make the content on it, hopefully make money out of that, make a bunch of little videos. It's very cost efficient for the consumer, right? But something like this, where like they pretty much, there's really no end to it. They can just keep adding content over and over and over again, very small things, and it's very easy for them to make this is just using assets and then smacking on some stuff, smack a price on it, and boom, there it is. It's very easy for companies to make money on this. It's very, like I said, they even look at old stuff. Like, look at the Swain adventure in and of itself. It's literally just a old adventure from Vi. A lot of people were asking like, whoa, where's that coming from? I don't understand. Boom, you go to Vi, you play adventure, go here, and there goes Swain. So it's literally this adventure. Literally, this adventure is a 2-star adventure that they used to have, and you would do that, and they just retook that and made it stronger by adding like a different passive, adding different relics to the units, and it's very similar to what they already do in like Asol, right? Asol is taking some of the older adventures, or like their final fights, like Ezreal, changing how Ezreal works, and some even in the monthly challenges, Ezreal is then paired with Targon, making it an absolute nightmare. Zed is also in Asol, but he's a little bit different. So they're kind of like reusing a lot of assets. So I just want to say, like, it's very easy for them to make money off of this, and that's why they chose Path of Champions and POC to, and POC. That's why they chose it to do it this way, because it's very easy to just revamp something, to change it slightly and then make money off of it. It's very cost efficient for them. So if it's very cost efficient for them, what's cost efficient for you? Where do you prefer to spend money? Like something like $100 for like one thing to me seems nuts. I know it's a bundle, you get other things, but I only want one thing out of it. So for me, if they would have made that more cost efficient to do it, yes, but then people would be buying up Nova crystals like crazy. But then it comes down to the relics, the fun. Doing a relic build is supposed to be fun, but most roguelikes would never lock that behind. Like if I were to show you guys my Hades, I know I keep talking about the roguelike channel. It's coming. But when I play Hades, and I unlock a new weapon or something like that, it's just because I kept playing. Like you want to, it's time gated, right? And that's mostly what this stuff is. It's still time gated. You can basically achieve anything in this game. It's just a little bit RNG when it comes down to the Nova Crystal, getting that 6-star. Luckily, Swain doesn't feel or the need that, oh God, I really need an overpowered character. It doesn't feel like that at all. So hopefully you guys let me know what you guys feel in the comment section below. And that's it for me. Nice little discussion video. Hope you guys like this style. I like to talk with you guys every once in a while instead of just game. Anyway, I'm out. Peace.